What's going on? It's Mac from GamerDub, and it is another Black Ops commentary, doing a ground war on Stadium, demolition on Stadium, and domination on Stadium. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Domination on Stadium, there we go. Yeah, I just noticed that quite a few of my gameplays recently have been on Stadium, so I will be sure to mix that up and throw in some new stuff, new maps, new areas here in the next couple days, so you won't just keep seeing these Stadium gameplays from me. But yeah, so I was sitting here and I just thought of a funny story that happened to me recently, and I wanted to do a commentary about it. So if you guys watched my past video, yeah, I believe it was my most recent one, I talked about how over the last weekend I went back to my hometown and was visiting family and friends. But on the way, or I guess you kind of need to know where my hometown is in relation to where I am right now. I am about 3-4 hours away from my hometown, so it's a fair distance away. That would be driving, of course. Driving, I'm about 4 hours away from my hometown, so a fair distance away, so I don't go home too often, but I do get quite a bit of opportunities to get back and visit family and friends. But anyways, so I make that drive from time to time throughout the year, and I was driving over there at the beginning of last weekend, and 4-hour drive, you end up pretty much just dazing out, and it feels very long in a car. But I was driving along and I ended up there. I was playing the radio because of course my iPod dock thing got all messed up and I wasn't able to use that. But anyways, I was listening to the radio, and if you guys have ever seen Tommy Boy, it's a movie with Chris Farley and David Spade, and they're sitting in the car. They're on like a road trip and they're sitting in the car, and this really girly, I think it's like an opera song comes on, and they both look at each other and they both kind of say to each other like, "Oh, I don't want to listen to this, but you can change it." And well, they kind of get in a, they basically start talking back and forth and saying, "Oh yeah, go for it, change it." And neither of them ends up changing it, and it cuts in about a minute later and they're both singing to it, and it's a pretty funny scene. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. But I had a similar situation like that. I was driving along, kind of dazing out, not really paying attention, just in the zone, and I believe it was a Katy Perry song came on the radio, and at first I was just like, I reached to the radio to change it, and I was like, whatever, I'll just leave it. And about a minute later, I realized I was singing to it, and right as I realized that I was singing to it, I look over, and the car next to me, this girl's in the car next to me, and she's just watching me sing this Katy Perry song. And it was embarrassing to say the least, but I must say, now that I look back at it, it was hilarious. It was pretty funny, and the weirdest thing was that I don't even know what song it was. I honestly don't, and I've never listened to Katy Perry before, or regularly. I don't. I just hear her on the radio, things like that. But so I don't even know how I knew the words to this song, but I caught myself singing it, and it was pretty funny because I got caught off guard by this girl next to me, and it felt like a Tommy Boy moment where I was just out of place and embarrassed, and I must say it was pretty funny. Yeah, I felt a little less masculine after that moment, but and the even worse part is that the girl driving next to me that looked over and laughed and noticed me singing. She was a very good-looking girl too, around my age as well. So that made things even more worse. But I don't know. It was a funny story, and now that I look back at it, I I just laugh about it. So I wanted to tell you guys that story that I had happened to me recently. And no, I do not listen to Katy Perry all the time. I hope you guys don't get that out of this commentary, but it was just a funny situation, and I wonder if any of you guys have been in a, an embarrassing situation like that where you were caught off guard, whether it's singing or, I don't know, dancing to a song or whatever it is, and you get caught out of your element because you're just not really paying attention to what you're doing. But yeah, so that was a funny story that happened to me just this past weekend on when I made a trip down to visit family. And after that, after that happened, the rest of the car ride, I think I was only about halfway in on the car ride, and after that happened, I pretty much shut up. I don't think I did any more singing the rest of the time, so I got put in my place pretty quick and got embarrassed from that. But yeah, anyways, another thing is, I don't know if you guys go on long car trips very often, but they might be one of the most annoying situations ever. I cannot stand car trips. I absolutely hate them. After this one, I've realized that I never want to go on car trips again. I would rather pay the extra money to fly, because it is a pain in the ass to go on car trips. It is absolutely, it just wears you out. It's very difficult to sit in a car for that long, especially when you're by yourself and you don't have somebody you can, swap out driving with. And the majority of the time when I go on these trips back to visit family, I am by myself, and it is very difficult to be in a car for that long, straight shot, minimal brakes. And I think from here on out, I'm only gonna fly. Yeah, I might have to spend that extra money, but whatever. I feel like it would be worth it in the end for me. But yeah, and I always thought I don't know if anybody went on car trips when they were little with family and stuff, but I remember car trips have never been a good thing in my life. They always seem to turn out horribly. Back when I was younger with my brother, I do have a brother. When we would go on car trips, they would be the worst. They would be the worst things ever. We would end up fighting the entire time, and I guarantee my parents must have hated us whenever we were on car trips, because we would absolutely just fuss and complain. And I mean, as a little kid, after being in the car for longer than like an hour, you start getting antsy, and you get uncomfortable, and you don't want to be in the car anymore. So about that hour would go by, and then we would just fight the rest of the time. So I don't know how my parents dealt with it, but I can't even handle car trips by myself. So with little kids getting in fights and getting angry, I don't know how I would ever deal with that. But yeah, anyways, that was my random rant for the day. I just that came to my mind just now. I was sitting here watching TV, and I started laughing at that story, and kind of memories of car trips and having to deal with people, having to deal with going on long car trips and getting in fights with my brother and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, anyways, this game is wrapping up that you are watching. It's something weird happened with the recording. I apologize that this doesn't completely end. It for some reason cut off the last like 10 seconds of the video, but as you can see, we ended up winning. I ended up getting a pretty good score, and I hope you guys got some entertainment out of it and enjoyed it. And as always, be sure to rate, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you tomorrow.